Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 19th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery, and you can see the sun rising across the Pacific trough, well carved out over the Pacific Northwest. We've got some moisture continuing to go across BC, Alberta, snow for the higher elevations, even across some of the Cascades, Oregon, Washington. Cold air continues to funnel into the region. We'll check out those details and the extended forecast here in a moment. And if you want a nice, affordable home weather station to record all this weather data here, solar powered, totally wireless, click on the link down below to save 10% off. Check it out. You can even look all across the world here to see who has these stations. And here's another one. If anybody calls me from Madagascar or sends me an email, I will send you a weather station for free to install out there. How about that? But yeah, you can see across Africa, Europe, India, out across some portions of China, South Korea, Japan out there, Australia. So a nice fun weather station. You click on any one of these little dots here and see their individual information as well, or you can make your station private. Anyway, back to the weather here. Near freezing temperatures, breezy, snow in June. Look at Pendleton, Oregon. National Weather Service excited about the prospect of snow across some of the higher terrain, and watch out if you are off in the backcountry there. Campers beware. But I think it's probably pretty apparent now that things are chilly out there and you need to bring some more wintry gear with you. And this is looking at National Weather Service Spokane, but you can see here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look at the warm up coming here at the end of the week here. Big temperature change. I mean, 20 plus degrees in some areas here in the next few days, but we still have a few days to go with this much cooler than normal temperature. Here's a great graphic from the National Weather Service Seattle here. You can see an upper level trough across the region here, and you can see this morning's balloon launch placed the 500 millibar heights in the 10th percentile for June 18th. More on that here in a moment as well, but you can see some of the snow falling. Even some flakes for the higher passes are possible. Look at Stevens, 3 to 4, Paradise, 3 to 4 inches as well. Now this is looking at the 12Z sounding for Quileute here, and this is 500 millibar temperature. You can see it's right close to record low temperatures there at 18,000 feet, just kind of showing you the extreme nature of this trough. This would be normal, and this red line here would be record high temperatures at 500 millibars, or about 18,000 feet. Just kind of showing you some raw data there. This is rain and high elevation snowfall here. Just calling attention again to the backcountry conditions out there. Hypothermia threat to recreationists and those gusty winds out there. Temperatures into the 30 and snow accumulations going on. This is looking at the temperatures at 18,000 feet, 500 millibars, and you can see why we got that really chilly sounding here on the Quileute sounding forecast there. Quileute right off the northwest Washington coastline there, but you can see the trough nicely carved out. Nice diagram of what's going on there above us at 18,000 feet. Here we go, total snow Kuchera ratio in inches. This is the NAM 3KM. We put this into motion. You can see some of the snow piling up across BC and Alberta. Even the Cascades of Washington, as we mentioned, Stevens and Paradise could be getting some measurable snowfall as well over the next day or two. Some of the higher terrain of Idaho as well. And you can see some locally higher amounts across Oregon. You're getting some pretty cold air streaming in off the ocean here. And there's also a thunderstorm threat down here today as well. We'll look at that here in a moment. But if we look a little bit closer, you can see out towards Mount Rainier some of this snowfall accumulating there. The NAM does show some for Stevens Pass here, maybe just a skiff or Snoqualmie there. So you might see some flakes flying if you go across Snoqualmie Pass here. And again, this would be mainly, let's check it out. When does that happen? That's about Monday night into Tuesday morning here. You might see some snow flying across Snoqualmie Pass. There are some of the higher peaks around. This is looking at Paradise. Check it out. They got the fresh new layer of snowfall out there. A nice webcam view there, and you can see the visitor center here as well, showing off its nice fresh snowfall as well. Now this is looking at the NAM 3KM composite reflectivity. This is what the Doppler radar may look like as we go through the day today, and you'll see some of these stronger showers kind of move in down towards western Oregon. So there is a thunderstorm chance with some of these showers here and on and through eastern Oregon as well. And then you can kind of see this wraparound moisture from this low kind of drop down over the area as we go on in through Monday evening, and on in through Tuesday as this low pressure or this upper level trough is taking its sweet time to get out of the area. Pretty typical, but then we are going to dry out. We're going to start to try to warm up here as we go towards the end of the week here, but we are going to introduce again some thunderstorm threats here going on into the end of the week as well. We'll take a look at that detail here in a moment, but this is day one. Kind of does include some of southern Washington here and northeast Washington, Idaho, Montana, And you can see even some severe weather out there for eastern Montana, so heads up for that. This is looking at the HER3 cam. This is what the Doppler radar may look like according to the high-resolution rapid refresh. So as you go through the afternoon hours, you'll notice a couple heavier showers popping up around maybe some of the central Puget Sound as well. But look down towards Oregon. You can clearly see where that cold air aloft is really coming in, streaming into the area. Can't rule out some thunderstorm activity there and some snow across the higher terrain, especially with those heavier showers. Now, this is looking at lightning flash density potential on the European, and it does call attention to some of western Oregon here as well, eastern Oregon also, for that thunderstorm threat. So the Euro agrees with the SPC. This is looking at total precipitation in inches on the NAM3KM, and you can see that cold air streaming into Oregon here. And then you can see the wraparound moisture kind of bring some additional precip across portions of western Washington. But you can see the higher terrain is going to be favored here for the most part. BC and Alberta, and places out towards Yellowstone, Wyoming, the higher terrain as well. So as we scroll all the way out through 60 hours, you can see we start to taper that precipitation off a bit. And something interesting here, the NAM3KM on Weather Bell kind of cuts off right there. Now watch if I go to the Gulf of Alaska one, you can see where it cuts off. It's interesting they just don't combine this data here. So to look at total precipitation in inches across some of BC and up towards the Yukon and whatnot in Alberta, you can actually go to this different view. But it's kind of interesting how they don't merge these together. Maybe somebody from Weather Bell will hear me say that. Anyway, this is daily 2-meter max temperature for today. You can see just into the lower 60s for Seattle. Pretty chilly across Willamette Valley too, with those showers rolling in, getting up towards 70 eastern Washington. And as we go through tomorrow, again, quite chilly across the area. But then Wednesday, getting back closer to normal here. And then look at this, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Might have a decent weekend here coming up, but we are going to introduce some thunderstorm potential across some of the higher terrain as well. But it looks like summer may return here through the extended forecast. We'll watch that over the next few days. This is the European ensemble mean versus the GFS. So we've got North America here. We've got Alaska. There's Washington. Same thing here with the GFS. This is last night's run at 06Z. Put it into motion and you can see pretty much similar trough behavior there. And we get this ridge trying to build up over BC here, which is going to allow us to warm up as we go through the end of the week coming up here. But that trough is still close. And it could still bring some southerly defluent flow aloft across the area here and really favor the higher terrain for some thunderstorm activities. You can see pretty good agreement between the European and the GFS with the placement of the trough right off the state of California. Now, this is looking at that 24-hour precipitation running total here, European ensemble. And you can see this really start to taper off as we go on in through Wednesday, and then maybe start to introduce some more activity here across the area again for the higher terrain. Look at Montana. Maybe getting some heavier precip as we go through the weekend out there as well. We'll watch that for them also out there. This is looking at 500 millibars, and you can see the trough is carved over the Pacific Northwest here. This is 18,000 feet winds. You can see it out of the north here, westerly, and then out of the southwest here. So watch what happens here. The trough weakens and starts to drift down to the south here, and then we get the redevelopment here of another trough here off the coast of California there. And you can see the southerly flow as we go aloft here across the region. And you get defluence aloft, which means convergence at the surface. And that's what can spawn some of this thunderstorm activity across the region. So we'll watch that over the next few days. As I've said, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, you can see the warm-up coming here as you go to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Maybe a nice weekend coming up here, getting above average temperatures. But we still got a few days to go with some pretty chilly temperatures out there. Pretty downright cold in my house this morning. This is looking at GFS, Seattle-Tacoma International here, and you can see the warm-up coming here and the return to some more normal or even above normal temperatures through the extended. And yeah, so anyway, that's looking way out in the extended forecast. And this is 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, and you can see we're building up those probabilities here across Pacific Northwest for some above average temperatures as we go through the end of June. 8 to 14 day includes all the Pacific Northwest there as well. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, and you can see the above average signal here, and 8 to 14 day as well across some of the Cascades and the higher terrain. Look at that signal across some of the desert Southwest as well, going on into July 2nd. Monsoon season getting off to a late start down there. And again, I'll show this one more time. This was issued June 19th there, but this is a seasonal temperature outlook. You can see the 3-month period it does cover, and you can see the West Coast favored for above average conditions. And you go to September, October, November. Look at, are you guys getting the hint here? The signal as we go all the way into winter, January, February, March, and on into April shows the same thing here too. I must have deleted that one. But anyway, it's just purely fantasy at this point. It's just a signal. It's mostly based on the ocean conditions. El Nino most likely bringing us some above average conditions here over the months leading up to the winter time here, and probably on into spring. This tends to be when El Nino flexes its muscle most and brings above average temperatures here to much of the Pacific Northwest. So we'll watch that as we go, of course, and we'll break the systems down day by day as we get on into the fall, winter, and next spring, as always. But just kind of an interesting signal showing up there. Anyway, yeah, eyes on the sky today out there across some of Oregon for some thunderstorm potential. Watch out for that snow flying across the higher terrain. Backcountry people, recreationalists, be careful out there. You can get hypothermic. Dress for winter out across the higher terrain. And anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow. Hope you guys are enjoying these videos, and I'll talk to you guys then.